Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to help you solve some of the problems on 6.9. For the first group of the problems, you need to find the angles first. Where are they located? As you look at the angles, you see they are all quadrantal angles. That means they are located on the borders of the quarters, like 2 pi, pi over 2, pi, and 3 pi over 2. So we know that if we have a coordinate plane and we make a unit circle on that coordinate plane, this unit circle has a radius of 1. And that makes the coordinates of these quadrant points as, like, for example, 1 and 0. This point, because it's located on the x-axis, the x value of that is 1 and the y value is 0. This one, because it's on the y-axis, the x value is 0 and y is 1 because the radius is 1. So this distance and this distance is 1. And the same way we can find the coordinates of the other points. We have also learned that if we have a unit circle and we have a point on unit circle, the coordinates of that point represent sine and cosine of the angle which is made with this point and the line that is drawn from this point to the origin. So the x value of this point is cosine and y value is sine. So for all these points, if you just find the x and y value of the point of the terminal side of this angle, then you can easily find sine and cosine or everything else. For example, I want to find sine of negative pi over 2. So the angle of negative pi over 2 is here. Starts from here and ends at this point. Goes through the negative direction and ends at this point. So x of this point is cosine and y is sine. So it's just negative 1. I want to find secant of 3 pi over 2. 3 pi over 2 starts from here and ends at this point again. Secant is 1 over sine of this angle. Sine of this angle is the y value, which is negative 1. So it's 1 over negative 1, which is equal to negative 1. I want to find tangent of, let's find 4 pi this time. Tangent of 4 pi. So where's this angle? 4 pi. If I start from here, this is going to be half of the circle, which is pi. Full circle is 2 pi. So it's 1 pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, and 4 pi. So 4 pi is located here. Now, we know that tangent, we have learned before, tangent is y over x, or sine over cosine, because y is sine, cosine is x. So just take the y and x value of this point, divide them by each other, and that's your answer. 0 is the y value and x is 1. So it's equal to 0. Tangent of 3 pi over 2. 3 pi over 2 is here. So just take the y and x and divide them. Y is negative 1, x is 0. And we know that if we divide a value by 0, that's undefined. So this is undefined. Now let's go to one of these two problems. If sine of theta is negative and cosine is positive, then theta lies in which quadrant? So we have learned before about the bow tie trig, if you remember. We said if we consider bow tie trig, this represents us the sign of trig values in different quadrants. We have also learned about this phrase, all smarties take calculus. That means in the first quadrant, all values are positive. Second one, only sine is positive. Here only tangent, and in the fourth quadrant, only cosine is positive. So using this, and also you know that sine is y. So here y is negative, it's less than 0. And cosine is positive, that's x. X is positive and y is negative. In which quadrant x is positive and y is negative? we know that on the right side of the x-axis, x is positive. That means cosine is positive. So it should be on one of these two quadrants. And y should be negative, or sine is negative. On which of these two y value is negative? This one, because it's below the x-axis. So y is negative, or in other words, sine is negative. So the answer is this one. So it's in quadrant 2. So using this bow tie trick, you can solve this kind of problems. For this problem, which of the following points is not on the unit circle? All you need to do is to look at the unit circle. I have put that here. The values are -1 and 0, 1/2 and -1/2, √2/2, and √2/2. So do I have them? Yes, -1 and 0 is here, √2/2 and √2/2 is here, but 1/2 and -1/2 is not here. That's all you needed to do for this one. So we say that which one is not on unit circle? It's this one. For this question, saying if we have a point like xn on the unit circle that has coordinates as x and y, what does it represent? We have learned that x is cosine and y is sine of the angle that is made by drawing a line from the point to the origin. So this angle, x and y of this point are cosine and sine. So it's this one. Okay, for this one also, you just need to go back to the unit circle and find the angle which is associated with this one. Next is asking find 2 negative and 3 positive angles expressed in radian for the point on the unit circle that corresponds to each angle. It's this one. So we need to look for this point on the unit circle, 1/2 and radical 3/2. That's pi/3. So the angle is, oh, I'm sorry, it's back here. So the angle is pi/3. That's the original angle that the point which is on the terminal side corresponds with these values. Okay, so this is pi/3. Now I'm just looking for 5 other angles, 2 negative and 3 positive, that basically have the same terminal side as this. That means their terminal side is here and it's passing through this point, 1, 2, and √3/2. That's what I'm looking for. So just find coterminal angles, because we have learned that if we find a coterminal angle with this one, for example, the initial side and the terminal sides are basically the same for both of them. So here I'm trying to find one positive one. So for positive one, start here, go to the positive direction, and it will be ended at this point. So one positive angle will be full circle, which is 2 pi plus a pi/3. Okay, then just add these two. Because it's fraction, you need to set a denominator of 1 and then find a common denominator. Multiply this by 3, both top and the bottom. It will be 6 pi/3 plus pi/3, and it's 7 pi/3. So that's one of the positive ones. To find the other two, you just need to make like another circle here. I'm going to use this color. For example, another positive one is 1, 2 pi, 2, 2 pi's, and you stop here. So this is another positive. Just calculate what is that. It's 2 pi plus 2 pi plus pi/3. Add them. Then for the next one, you just need to make 3 full circles and find the answer. For negative, you need to move to the negative direction. So you start from here. The first one could be this one. So how far did we go? For the negative one, you start here and end here. I can find that by subtracting pi over 3 from 2 pi. So 2 pi minus pi over 3. The same way I find the common denominator, so this will be 6 pi over 3 minus pi over 3, and it's 5 pi over 3. But notice that we are moving to the negative direction. So the angle, the negative one, will be negative pi over 3. And if you want to find another one, another negative one, you just need to make another full circle and then go back here. So it's basically this value, negative pi, negative 2 pi, because as you make one full circle, it's negative 2 pi, plus a negative 5 pi over 3. So find a common denominator and solve it. Let's go to the next part here. So for this question, it's asking us what function is represented by the length of segment OQ. So OQ is here. If you consider this point, we know that this point has a value coordinate of x and y. And x is the horizontal distance between this point and the origin. So this is x. And y is the vertical distance. We also learned that if we have a unit circle here, and it's given as unit circle, x is cosine and y is sine. But here's the thing, this x value is on the left side of the x-axis, so it's basically negative. So what do we have here? By this side, we have negative cosine. For question number 16, we have a unit circle here because it says OA is equal to 1. So OA, this side, is equal to 1. And angle BOA is 30 degrees. What are the coordinates of B? We have learned that if we find the coordinates of x and y, basically x is sine, x is cosine of the angle which is made with this line, basically x of 30, and y in this case is sine of 30. So this is 30. Okay. So to find the coordinate, we need to find sine and cosine of this angle 30. So I can easily find that because I can make a triangle here. I'm going to draw that here. 30, 90, and this one is 60. And we have one side here. We can easily find the other sides. Okay, so we know that on the unit circle, on a special right triangle, 30, 60, 90, the ratio of the sides are x, x root 3, and 2x. And the side which is opposite 60 is 1 in this case. So I can find the other two sides easily. If x root 3 is equal to 1, then x will be 1 over root 3. So this one is 1 over root 3. And the other side is just 2 times x. So it's 2 times 1 over radical 3, which is like this. Okay. Now, what is sine of this angle? Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite of 30 is 1 radical 3 and hypotenuse is 2 over radical 3. So let's write that here. Sine of 30 is opposite over hypotenuse. 1 over root 3 over 2 over root 3. Okay, so it will be if we have division of fractions, you keep the first one, keep the top, and multiply by flipped of the second one, root 3 over 2. So these two cancel each other, and the answer is 1 over 2. So the sign is 1 over 2, which is the y value of this point. Now, what is cosine? Cosine of this angle is adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent is 1, and hypotenuse is 2 over root 3. Again, keep the top and multiply that by reciprocal of the bottom, radical 3 over 2. So the answer is radical 3 over 2. So the x value is radical 3 over 2. So which one is our answer? It's this one. Next, let's work on this question. Question number 17 says, in the figure, OP is equal to 1. What are the coordinates of P? So we have learned that basically if we have a side here, I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry, I was distracted for a second. Okay, so here I have this line, which is equal to 1. So I can make a circle using that line. Okay, so basically I have made the unit circle here. And we learned that if we have a point on unit circle, and this point has x and y as the coordinate, again, x is cosine and y is sine. And since this point is on the first quarter, that means both x and y are positive. So sine and cosine are both positive. So which one is the answer? It's this one, cosine and sine, which both of them are positive. And the last question, in the diagram, the ordered pair x and y represents the point where the terminal side of theta intersects the unit circle. So we have a unit circle here. And this theta, this angle is 120. What is the value of x in simplest form? Okay, so what do I need to find? I need to find basically the x value of this point, which is cosine of this angle, which is made here. Okay. So what is the measure of this angle? If theta, this one, this big one is 120, this little one will be 60. So now my life is easy because I have a right triangle here. That this angle is 60. This one is 90 and this one is 30. Okay, now I'm looking for the x value of this point. This x value is cosine of this angle, cosine of 60. So what is cosine? Since this is a unit circle, that means the radius is 1. So this side is 1, which is the hypotenuse. So I can make my unit circle, my table 30, 60, 90. X root 3, and 2x. Opposite 90 is 1. So 2x is equal to 1. X is equal to 1 over 2. So this side is 1 over 2. And this one will be x times radical 3. That means 1 over 2 times radical 3 is radical 3 over 2. Okay, now I'm looking for cosine of 60. It's adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent of 60 is this side, which is opposite of 30. It's 1 over 2. And this radical 3 over 2 was opposite 60. So this side is radical 3 over 2. Okay, so cosine is adjacent, which is 1 over 2 over 1. But here's the point. Because this triangle is here in the second quarter. So this side, which is 1 over 2, is a negative value because it's on the left side of the x-axis. So it's negative 2. Okay, so the answer is negative 1 over 2. And that's this one.